Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Nawaitu ta'allum wa ta'lim wa tadhakkur wa tadhkir wa naf'a wal intifa'a wal ifadata wal istifadah wal hatha ala tamassuki bi kitabillah wa sunnati rasulih sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa du'a ilal huda wa dalalata ala al khair ibtigha'a wajhillahi mardhatih wa qurbihi wa thawabih subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us this opportunity to gather here and to prepare ourselves for this great journey that we are going to undertake, the journey of performing Umrah, on top of our journey to make ziyarah to the land of the awliya, the lands of Hadramawt. Okay, so inshallah ta'ala, today we have quite a number of things to cover. We didn't even cover the arkan completely yesterday, so we'll touch on that inshallah ta'ala. We'll do a revision of the arkan, and then we'll talk about the final two arkan inshallah ta'ala quickly before we go on to today's lesson, which is that of Muharramatul Ihram. And perhaps if you think about the ibadah of Umrah, the two most important things for you to know, in my view, when I look at the ibadah as a whole and teaching it and helping people to address their concerns, one is Tawaf, the other one is Muharramatul Ihram. So these are the two main sections that we should focus on and try to really understand, inshallah ta'ala. So we'll do a recap of yesterday's lesson. Okay, so Umrah consists of 5 things. These 5 things, we call them integrals or rukun. The jama' of it, the plural of it is arkan. Okay, so the first thing is to enter into a state of ihram. And as we mentioned, ihram refers to the niyats, the niyats of entering into the state for nusuk, for manasik. Okay, so in our case, this manasik is Umrah. Okay, the second thing is making tawaf, circumambulating the Kaabah. So that's the first thing that we will be doing once we arrive in the land of Makkatul Mukarramah. The second thing that we're going to be doing is the sa'i, and this is the third integral, okay, which is going between Safa and Marwah. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the tahliq. It's there's a typo there. It shouldn't be tahliq, but tahliq or taksir. That is to shave or to cut your hair. And this process, with this process, we do something which is called tahallul, which is to change our state from the state of ihram, from being a muhrim to being someone who is halal now. Okay, so this involves shaving or cutting one's hair, and this is what we're gonna start with today, inshallah ta'ala. The last thing is the tertib. That means doing those things that we mentioned in the order that we mentioned them. Okay, so with regards to tahliq or taksir, shaving or cutting the hair, so you should know that this is the last thing that we're going to be doing as part of our Umrah. And after we shave or we cut our hair, we become or we change from being muhrim to becoming someone that is halal. It's halal again for us to do all those things that we had been prevented from doing, or that we had abstained from doing whilst we were in a state of ihram. Okay, and the way to do it, okay, optimally, and we're talking about men here, okay, it's optimal to shave, that is to do the tahliq. Then it is to cut your hair, okay, to do the taksir. So shaving is afdal, it is better than taksir, but I leave it to all of you, whatever you choose. Some people, they choose to keep their crowning glory because they have work to go to, they have to meet clients, whatever the case may be. Okay, if that's your choice, then so be it. You know, you can choose to not shave your head, but shaving your head is optimal, and this is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did his tahallul, okay, by shaving his head, okay, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so now we'll talk about the minimal, okay, the minimal amounts that one should cut. Let's say you don't even want to have your hair trimmed, okay, I just want to cut the minimal amount. What is the minimum amount? The minimum amount is one should cut a non-trivial portion of 3 strands of hair. and this is the minimum amount according to our madhab, the madhab of Imam Shafi'i. So any 3 strands of hair, in this case, you can even choose to cut hair from that is outside of the boundaries of the head. Okay, so it's not like wudu. You have to wet hair that is from the boundaries of the head. Even if you're a lady and you have long hair, it's outside the boundaries, you can cut. You can cut it. So any non-trivial portion of 3 strands of hair would suffice according to our madhab. Okay, now we'll tell you about the Hanafis. For the Hanafis, for them, one should cut minimally a portion of 1 strand of hair that is no less than an anmala. Okay, so anmala is these joints. Okay, the joints between our fingers. This is an anmala. Okay, so for the Hanafis, you can cut 1 strand of hair, but you should cut at least an anmala worth. Okay, so what should we do? How do we apply this practically to come out from the difference of opinions between the scholars? It is ideal that we cut 1 anmala at least, okay, of 3 strands of hair. So the woman, inshallah ta'ala, you can make amal of this, and an anmala in English, it's called a distal phalange. Okay, so it just sounds so weird, so I'm just gonna say anmala. Tamam. Okay, so there are a couple of things that we should take note of, and this is actually in particular it applies to women. Okay, so the muharramah woman, when you are going to do your tahallul, okay, you cannot shave your hair, because shaving the head for a woman is haram. Okay, the only time when a female is allowed, or it's allowed for a female to have her head shaven, is when she's 7 years old. Okay, 7 days old. Okay, after she is born at 7 days old, it's not a problem for her to have her head shaved, and in fact, it is a sunnah. Okay, it is a sunnah to have her head shaved, and that's the only time. Okay, that's the only time for her, for a woman, where we say that actually it is sunnah to have her head shaved. Okay, tamam. And one thing that we should remember when we're doing this tahallul is that the hair is still part of a woman's aura, whether it is on the head or it is separated from the body. That means after you cut it, it is still not permitted for you to show it to men, just because it's now, I'm talking about the women. So now, just because it's separated from the rest of your body, it doesn't mean that it's permissible for you to show it. Okay, because it is still considered to be part of your aura. So when you cut it, make sure that, I'm addressing the women, cut it, make sure that you're in a secluded place, free from view of men. You know, get a couple of women to crowd around you, you know, help each other with cutting. And then when you dispose it, make sure that you dispose it in a plastic bag, and then throw it in the dustbin properly. Okay, so this is something that it's a tanbih. That means it's a guidance, or which comes in a warning form, because there's something that you should take note of. Okay, for men, there is also a tanbih, and this thing happens quite often. People, when they've completed their sa'i, they think that they've already become halal. They're no longer muhrim, but they are still muhrim. So all the muharramatul ihram still applies to them. So they can't actually use scented cream, and they can't also wear encompassing clothes, even if it's not sewn. If it's like with a zip or with a velcro, if it's difficult for you to remove, it's still not permitted for you to do so. So when you visit salons, sometimes these barbers may not be aware of the rulings. They are barbers after all. You know, they are just there to earn a living. Okay, so they may still put on scented cream on your head, and still put on a robe for you, which is encompassing. So what I do, okay, so inshallah ta'ala, if when we're done with Umrah, we'll go to the saloon together, and then we'll tell the barber to just shave off a little bit of our head, of our hair first, okay, from our head, and then they can put on the robe and put on scented cream on our head. Okay, so this is just a tanbih. And the last thing is to do those things in the mentioned order. Okay, so we do our ihram first, tawaf, sa'i, and then we do our shaving or cutting. Okay. Okay. Now we're done with the arkan of Umrah. We're going to the Muharramatul Ihram. Anybody has any questions? Tafaddal. Or you want to save the questions for later also? You know, once we you just think about it, and then when we have everything a better picture, then we can ask and discuss the answers to some of these questions. Okay. So inshallah ta'ala, today we'll talk about the things unlawful in ihram, and we'll talk about some things that are related to our amal, our ibadah in the Haramayn. Okay. So first thing, okay, there are things that are unlawful in ihram. Some of the scholars, they would list down about 10 things that are unlawful in ihram. You will get a variation because some people, they will list down 11. They will break some of these things into 2 or 3 different parts. Some will get fewer because they combine 2 or 3 of these things into one point. Doesn't matter. All these things, as long as we are aware of these things, all these things are things that are unlawful in ihram. So we call them in Arabic Muharramatul Ihram. Okay, so these things, okay, these 10 things, we don't have to read all of them out because we're going to have a detailed breakdown. These are things that are unlawful in ihram, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to break them down into 2 different sections. One section, we're going to talk about the things that actually nullify the Umrah, the manasik, which are unlawful and they nullify the manasik. The other one are things that are unlawful, but they do not nullify the manasik. Okay, they do not nullify the manasik, and these are the majority of things. Okay, so first thing, the things that are unlawful in ihram that nullify the umrah. What are they? Sexual intercourse is the only thing that will invalidate the umrah. So those who enter into intercourse will be obligated to do first thing. First thing is to make tawbah. Okay, because it is a major sin. To have intercourse with your wife or other than your wife, na'udzubillah min dhalik, when you are in a state of ihram. So it is obligatory for you to make tawbah upon it. Second thing is that it is obligatory upon you to actually complete the invalidated umrah. This applies both to umrah and to hajj. Okay, just because it is nullified, it doesn't count for you now, doesn't mean you don't have to complete it. You actually have to complete even though it doesn't count for you. Tamam? The third thing is that you actually have to, after completing that invalidated umrah or hajj, whatever the case may be, you actually have to make up that invalidated ibadah as soon as you can. Okay, so once you've completed your umrah, you actually have to go into ihram again, and then you have to make up that invalidated umrah. Okay, so inshallah ta'ala, this will not apply to any of us. Okay, and the third and the fourth thing is the great expiation. We call this kafaratul uzma, the great expiation. That means you have to either sacrifice a camel, we call it badana, you sacrifice a bagara, a cow, or you can sacrifice 7 goats. And if you are not able to do any of these things, then you are required to give out in we call this it'am, that means to feed the masakin of the haram of Mecca, the equivalent of what the value of a badana, value of a camel, what you can get. So that let's say if a camel costs $5,000, okay, if a camel costs $5,000 and a bag of staple food, let's say a mood of Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, of wheat, or rice costs $1. So you actually have to get 5,000 portions of that and give it out to 5,000 masakin of the Haram of Mecca. Okay. And if you're not able to do that, then you have to fast the number of days equivalent to the number of mood that you would have gotten for that value of badana. So in our example, it was 5,000. So you'd have to fast 5,000 days, okay, to make it up. So inshallah ta'ala, none of us will have to go through this. And the last thing is that there is something called ta'zir, which is censure at the discretion of the hakim. So if a hakim exists, a hakim shar'i, according to the standards of Islam, if he exists, you actually have to be brought to a hakim, and then someone will have to tell the hakim that you did this whilst you are in ihram. So the hakim will mete out a punishment for you. So usually this punishment will be something that sort of like brings down your honor a little bit. You know, maybe the hakim will ask you to walk around with a placard saying that I will not violate, you know, the Muharramatul Ihram in future. You know, I regret my actions. Okay. Okay, so just to let you know, precursors to intercourse, including foreplay and entering into marriage agreements, are impermissible, but they do not nullify the Umrah. Okay. It's not moving. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the things that are unlawful in ihram, but they do not nullify the Umrah. Okay. The first thing is covering the head for men only. Okay. The second thing is wearing encompassing garments, which is known as muhid. Okay. Muhid. Usually people, when they discuss these points, typically what we find in many Umrah classes, they will talk about sewn garments. It need not actually be sewn garments. If a garment is not sewn, it is actually glued together, or it is put together by Velcro or by buttons, and it's very secure, and it creates a shape around your body part. We still consider it to be muhid, even though it's not mahid. Okay, tamam? The third thing is covering the face and putting on gloves, and this applies to women only. The fourth thing is removing hair or nails, and we deliberately use the word removing here, just as the fuqaha do, because it need not necessarily be in the form of clipping or cutting. It will apply even if you burn it, even if you tear it off, it will apply to you nonetheless, or you pull out your hair, okay? It will apply to you nonetheless. Using perfume. Okay, we'll have a tafsil where we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail, inshallah ta'ala. And then the sixth thing is oiling the hair or the beard. Okay, so you are prohibited from oiling your hair or your beard, even though the oil that you're using is not scented. So it doesn't have to be scented or perfumed. The seventh thing is hunting. The eighth thing is plucking out plants, which is actually just flora. Fauna is not included. So fauna is actually animals. Someone brought this to my attention, but I forgot to change it. Okay. Yes. Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Okay, so the first thing, covering the head. Okay, this is something that applies to men. Okay, it is impermissible for you to cover your head, whether you use something that is typically used as a head cover like a kufiya, or you use something that is not typically used as a head cover, like putting a towel over your head. Okay, both of these things are not permitted. Tamam? The second thing, unlawful things in ihram, which do not nullify the Umrah is wearing encompassing garments for men. Okay, so encompassing clothes, and I put this here because there are actually products available out there, and wallahu alam, you know, whether there are views that actually permits using some of these products, but I've just put it here for you to see so that you know and you have an idea about what it means to wear encompassing clothes. Okay, so ala kulli hal, it is impermissible for men to wear men in ihram to wear encompassing clothes which are muhid, even if they are not sewn, mahid. Okay, even if the encompassing clothes are held together by adhesives, they glue it together, they say it's not sewn. Okay, or by Velcro, okay, or by safety pins, or by tying, or by zippers, okay, sometimes very strong buttons. Okay, these are all not permitted for you to wear when you're in ihram. And remember that firstly, I always tell people that we are in ihram for a very short period of time. Okay, and secondly, the whole purpose of ibadah, as we mentioned, the whole purpose of us entering into a state of ihram is to take us away from things that we are accustomed to, you know, our comforts. So so if you think about it that way, inshallah ta'ala, you will not look at all these products and try to find things as a workaround, you know. If you're a normal man like you and I are, inshallah ta'ala, okay, we will not need any of these products, and we will go through it, and inshallah ta'ala, that experience of wearing the ihram is something that will humble us and will bring humility, inshallah ta'ala, into our lives and our souls. Okay, rings. Okay, rings are encompassing. Okay, they are muhid. But it is permissible for men in ihram to wear their rings without any scholarly disagreement. That means all the scholars agree. Why? Because Rasulullah SAW never removed his ring, and he never asked any of his sahabi to remove their rings either. Okay, so this is something that is permitted without scholarly disagreement. Belts. Okay, belts are still encompassing. Okay, they are still muhid, but it is permissible to put on a belt because it is necessary for you to do so in order to preserve your aura. Okay, unlike those products where some people they have like Velcro ihram for the top, button ihram for the top. This is not part of the men's aura. What this rokhsa is given to us to wear this encompassing piece of clothing, which is the belt, to cover or preserve what? Our aura, which is what is between the navel and the knee for us. Okay, so it is permissible for us to do so. But even so, many of our teachers, okay, the scholars of Hadramawt, they say we do it up to the point that it is necessary to do it. That means they don't even put on the second buckle. Okay, they just put on the first buckle and then they leave the flap open. Tamam, because the second one is unnecessary. Tamam. So this is something that we can practice inshallah ta'ala. Okay. And flip-flops. Okay, you can wear flip-flops. Okay, it is permissible for you to wear flip-flops, even though if you think about it, this part of the flip-flop, any type of flip-flop, even slipper Jepun, okay, is actually muhid. It actually encompasses your foot, but it is permissible for you to do it out of necessity because it will preserve your feet from being affected by najasa. Okay, so you won't actually step on najasa and then soil your feet, and then you have to redress that. Okay, tamam. What about wristwatches? Okay, this is a discussion amongst our fuqaha, the scholars. Watch. Okay, the watch that you wear around your wrist, that's a wristwatch. Okay, so the scholars differ with regards to its permissibility in ihram. Okay, and I quote here the late Mufti of Tarim, Sheikh Fadl bin Abdurrahman Bafadl, said that some watches they actually resemble rings. Okay, he didn't put this picture, but I thought about it and I said I found this picture and I said, yeah, some watches actually resemble rings and they may be permissible by qiyas, analogical reasoning. Okay, so we can say that it is perhaps similar to a ring. You know, Sheikh Fadl said that perhaps some people might argue and it is a valid argument. Okay, whilst others are more akin to cuffs on one shirt or an armor. So if you look at watches like this or watches that look like this, then they may be more akin to cuffs and armor, and they may be impermissible for you to wear in ihram. Okay, so I've put in the reference here. Ala kulli hal, he says that the more precautionary position is for us to refrain from wearing wristwatches. After all, we now have what do you call that? Our mobile phones, our mobile phones, our handphones, which can tell the time very well. And also, there's the clock tower in Mecca that you can look at if you really need to tell the time. Okay, so there are many options available. Okay, so I think that if it is not necessary to use, then don't use it, because I will not be using it. But again, okay, because these things there are people who have studied elsewhere and they take other positions. So I said it's really up to you, because anyway this is a matter of scholarly disagreement. Okay, and this applies to men. I'm not talking about ladies. So ladies, you don't have to discuss whether you can wear watches or not. You definitely can wear your watches. Okay, and then strappy sandals. Okay, I mentioned just now that you can wear slippers. Okay, but just take note that it is not permitted for you to wear footwear that covers your toes or that encompass your heels. Okay, so if you do happen to put on a footwear that looks like this, then you no, not like this, then you have to step on. This one you can't even put on because of the front bit. Okay, because of the front bit. Okay, so it is prohibited for a man to in ihram to wear footwear that has straps, that straps on to the back of the ankles. Okay, and or cover the toes. Okay, and then what about backpacks? Okay, backpacks, when they are worn on both your shoulders, they become muhid. Okay, they become more akin to wearing encompassing clothes than carrying. Okay, but it's okay if you carry your bag on one just one arm over one shoulder. And again, I mentioned this. This is something that is a position that is relied upon in our madhab. Okay, but other madhabs, they have other positions, and again I said that actually it's really up to you, but this is the position that we will take. Okay, tamam. And likewise, wearing slingbacks. Okay, wearing slingbacks. So wearing a slingback like the one I have here. Okay, if you wear it across your body, this will be more akin to wearing muhid. Okay, then hamal, which is to carry a bag. Okay, if you carry it like this, there's no problem. If you carry it across, this is more akin to wearing a piece of clothing. Okay. Okay, so these are impermissible in ihram for men. And again, I mentioned that this is a position that that is applicable according to the relied upon position in our madhab. Okay, blankets and sleeping bags. It is permissible for us to use blankets and sleeping bags in ihram. Okay, as long as you do not cover yourself fully. Okay, or you do not zip the whole sleeping bag. And this is perhaps less applicable to us and more applicable to those who are going on Hajj, and they have to spend their nights in Mina, or they have to spend their nights in Arafah. Okay, this might be more applicable to them. Okay, so wearing face veils or gloves for women. Tamam. So it is impermissible for women in ihram to wear face veils or gloves, okay? But you can wear a face veil. This is particularly useful for the ladies who are accustomed to already covering their face, okay? You can wear a face veil as long as it doesn't touch your face, okay? So in the classical books, they will mention that you can put a stick, you know, that sticks out, and then you put a piece of cloth that hangs over your face. But alhamdulillah, we have baseball caps, so alhamdulillah for baseball caps. So you can get yourself a baseball cap if you want to cover your face, okay? So then you put that piece of cloth over your baseball cap, okay, like this. Okay, so this is a demo by this lady. Okay, so she puts on a baseball cap, and then you see it doesn't touch her face. Tamam? Okay, the fourth thing, things which are unlawful in ihram but do not nullify the ihram: removing the hair or nails. Okay, so it is haram for the muhrim. Okay, so firstly, actually I should have this first. It is impermissible for anyone in ihram to remove any part of his hair or his nails, okay, by any means, okay, burning, cutting, pulling out, okay. All these things are impermissible for both men and women as long as you are still in ihram, okay. Then people, sorry, biting your nails as well, okay, for those people who have a habit of biting off their nails, okay. And by the way, it's actually a bad habit. It's actually a bad habit, and it's mentioned actually in Ta'lim Muta'allim, Ustazah Diana. Yeah, it's mentioned in Ta'lim Muta'allim. What's the effect of it? Bad memory, is it, or something? Yeah, poor memory. Poor memory, yeah. Oh, and it cuts off rizq. So it's mentioned in some of the books that it leads to you having poor memory, and also it cuts off your rizq or reduces your rizq. So it's something that you should try to avoid, whether or not you're in ihram. Okay, for those people who have a habit of it, just avoid it, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so what about combing the hair? Okay, so it is haram for the muhrim who has yakin, okay, he's sure or he has a strong sense, okay, that combing his hair or his beard will cause hair to fall off. Otherwise, if he doesn't have yakin or dhan, he doesn't have a strong sense that it will come off, it is makruh for him to do so. Okay. However, we say that if you suspect that hair may have fallen out as a result of combing, you don't know, maybe I combed my hair, maybe I didn't, then fidya is not obligatory upon you. Okay, Tamam? Okay. So actually, if it's something that is habitual and it's something that you didn't think about, it's not something that is premeditated, you know, it's not like, oh, my hair is itchy, I'm scratching it. It's just something that is habitual, you know. A lot of the ladies, well, you have your headgear on, but the men, some men may be perhaps a lot more vain than others, and they like to run their hands through their hair. If it's habitual, it's okay. Okay, if it's habitual, it's okay. But if it's something that, you know, I just have to do something because it's just so itchy and I have to do something to my head, then we say this thing applies. Okay, yes, and we'll talk about this. There is a particular mas'ala which relates to women in particular, and that is bathing, taking a bath when you're in ihram, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so this is a mas'ala, and I put it here because you find it in the books. Okay, what if someone two people in ihram, the muhrim cuts the hair of another muhrim, who is to blame and who pays the dam for it? Okay, so if the kati, that means the one whose hair is being cut, had an opportunity to prevent the kator from cutting his hair, then the blame and the fidya would be on the kati. Okay, so let's say if your kator is your son, and you could stop him by saying, "Don't cut my hair," but you say, okay, or you just don't do anything, you just let it be, then you still, there will still be blame upon you, and you would still have to pay the fidya. Okay. But if the kati was forced upon and didn't permit the cutting of his hair, then the blame and the fidya would be upon the kator. Okay, sounds like Hokkien when say kator. Okay, tamam. Issues, masail. Okay, I entered into ihram whilst I was in head. Okay, and now I have to do ghusl. This is an actual mas'ala, okay, that women will have to go through to uplift the state of major ritual impurity. Okay, how do I go about it without being imposed dam? Okay, no expiation upon me for the hair fall. So the fuqaha, they have a solution to this, and they say that when you bathe, when you take your bath, when you do your ghusl, you just pour water over your head without scrubbing your hair. That means without running your hands through your hair, and just let water run through and seep through until it seeps into your scalp, and then you let it be. Whatever that falls off through the natural course of events, you're not to blame for it. There is no fidya upon you. Okay. However, if you actually have to do this because this is actually an act which for most people, it is an act that results in or that follows it hair fall. Okay. So dam would still be due upon you. Tamam? Tamam? So that is how you go about it. Okay. So you just let water seep through, okay, without running your hands through your hair and scrubbing your head. Okay. And then you just let it dry. Okay. It takes a longer time. Okay, but you just have to be patient. Okay. Tamam? Oh yes, it applies to men also, except that you do not have a reason to enter into. We just put ladies because for men we don't have a reason to enter into ihram in a state of janaba, you know. But for ladies, it's something that is real. It's a mas'ala that they will actually go through. You know, some of them might enter into ihram in head, and then when their head clears, they will have to shower before they can perform their tawaf. Okay. Normal bathing. Okay. Okay, so and also for normal bathing lah, for men and women, if you if you use a towel to dry, okay, let's say for me with my hair, if I use a towel to dry it, I can tell you for certain that no hair will fall off. Okay, because it's something that I know out of experience. Okay, but hair fall is also a problem that is perhaps more applicable for ladies than men. Okay, so if you know that this is something that will happen to you, then you shouldn't do it. You know, leave it and just let it dry off. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Tamam. Okay, so combing hair in ihram. Okay, combing hair in ihram. We talked about that already. Okay, if you have strong dhan, if you have yaqeen that your hair will fall off, then you would be blame would fall upon you, and there would be dam imposed upon you or kafara imposed upon you. Okay. Okay, this is the same mas'ala, so we need not repeat it. Okay. And I leave it I leave the ladies to discuss later on whether you how you want to deal with it, because ladies have the option of consuming something, and this is something that maybe you can discuss, the ladies can discuss with the ustazat, can discuss with my wife as well, okay, whether this is something that you want to undertake and what are the related issues. Okay, the fifth thing is using perfumes. Okay, using perfumes. Okay, there are different types of scents. There are scents that we use and we take benefit from it by burning. Okay, example, burning oud, gaharu, and this is a common practice in many Arabian hotels. Okay, and there are those that we take benefit from it by reducing its essence. Okay, like for example, liquid perfume. How else would we make use of it if we don't reduce its essence? Once we take it from the bottle, that essence of the perfume would have reduced. Okay, would have reduced. Okay, and there are those that we take benefit from it by what? By putting our nose near it or bringing it near to our noses. Okay, and there are those that we take benefit from it by carrying it. Okay, by lifting it. So different types of or rather different rulings apply to these different categories. Okay, so firstly, those that we take benefit from it by burning. Okay, so it's haram. What is haram? Arrival of its essence from its smoke onto our bodies. Okay, so that is haram. So actually, if you walk into a hotel where they are burning oud, let's say in the hotel lobby, yeah, just try to avoid it, okay, and take it that it is part of the normal course of things. But however, if you come close to it, and I tell you, when the Arabian hotels, they burn the oud, they actually burn lots of it. Okay, they actually burn lots of it. They are very generous, and this is very expensive wood. You know, I think at any one time you would find in their mabkhara, that big mabkhara, perhaps a couple of $100 worth of oud being burned at any one time. You know, if you go there and you actually take benefit from its scent, like how you do in the mawalids, you do this, it is actually haram for you to do so. Okay. And you will find that actually, if you take enough of it, you will find that the soots from that burning will actually stick onto you. Okay, so this is haram. Okay, but it is permissible, because how do you take benefit from it? By burning. So if you use it by eating it or carrying it, this is okay. Okay, so if any of you want to eat gaharu, go ahead. Okay. Luban. Luban. Okay, luban. Tamam. So apa dia? Arabic gum. Arabic gum. Okay. Arabic gum. Arabic gum you can eat. Okay, you can eat and you can burn. But how do you take advantage of the scent? By burning, not by eating. Okay. And those that you take advantage or you take benefit from it by reducing its essence, like liquid perfume, then you can't use it on your body and your clothes. Okay, but it's still permissible for you to carry it. Okay, so don't be afraid. If let's say someone passes to you what, like a bottle of perfume or something like that for you to carry, you can still carry it. Okay, Allah alam. If someone wants to give you as a gift, sometimes strange things happen in the haram. You know, people come to you and give you something as a gift. So if he wants to give you as a gift, you can take it. Okay. Okay, those that you take benefit from it by putting your nose near it or bringing it near your nose, then it is permissible, okay, for you to carry it in your clothes, carry it on your hands, carrying it around you in your bags. It is permissible for you to do so. Okay, and those that we take benefit from it by carrying it. This is actually common in Arabian culture to carry mask. And we don't do this. And I've also not seen any modern Arab actually carrying mask in bags or in like netted stockings, that type of carriers. But air freshness, Air freshness, I think that air freshness actually fall into this category. You know, the type of air freshener that you hang in your car. Yeah, it is in this category. Okay, so if you take benefit from it by carrying it, then it is impermissible for you to carry it in your carry it around, or to put it in your clothes. Okay, so the women, they cannot carry open air fresheners. So that, let's say if you're in a taxi and the taxi driver gives you his air freshener or something like that, you can't put it in your clothes. Okay, that would still be equivalent of or it would tantamount to carrying a scented product, where one usually takes advantage or takes benefit from it by carrying it. Okay, but it's okay if you carry it in a bottle, okay, where it is closed, or you cover it with a plastic bag and it no longer serves the purpose. Okay, so now this is a question that many people have asked, several people have asked yesterday, about the use of scented soaps. Is it permitted for you to use scented soaps or not? Okay, so I'll give you two opinions. Firstly, that of Habib Muhammad bin Ahmad bin Omar Ash-Shatiri, the person who wrote the commentary of Al-Yaqutun Nafis. And just a bit of trivia, he used to be a teacher at Madrasah Al-Junaid, and he taught at Madrasah Al-Junaid for 3 years. Habib Muhammad bin Ahmad bin Omar Ash-Shatiri. Okay, and then yeah, he came to Singapore, and then he taught in Arabic. That was the day when yeah, but anyway, he speaks fluent English. Habib Muhammad Ash-Shatiri speaks fluent English. Okay, some of these scholars are really amazing. You don't expect them to be able to speak English, and they can speak fluent English. Okay, I think you can find that in the at the front of Syarah Yaqutun Nafis. Darul Minhaj, his Syarah. This is the son of the author of Yaqutun Nafis. So his Syarah, they mentioned that he used to teach at Madrasah Al-Junaid for 3 years, and then he moved to Oman before settling in Abu Dhabi, I think. Okay. Ala kulli hal, he mentions that it is haram to use scented soaps, okay, because they were manufactured for the scent. That means they are maqsood. They were the scent is there for the purpose of the scent, for people to take benefit from the scent. Because if you think about it, you can actually have soaps. They function just as well. If you look at soaps from the 80s, I'm actually that old, you know. Many of the soaps that we used to use, real old bar soaps, you know, the ones that you actually have to cut, you know, and leave on your kitchen, when you cut a few and then you leave one in your toilet, you know. They are not scented, and they do the job just as well. You know, they do the job just as well. But as time went by, and product manufacturers, they wanted to sell their products better. They wanted to find niche market. You know, they wanted to have something to market these soaps. So they say that this is scented. This one smells of lavender. This one smells of rose, and so on and so forth. So if you think about it, actually what Habib Muhammad bin Ahmad bin Omar Ash-Shatiri mentioned actually makes sense, because they are maqsood. They were put there for the purpose of people taking benefit from the scent. Okay, so that is one opinion. Another opinion, and this is the opinion of Majlis Iftah Jordan, and I mentioned Majlis Iftah Jordan because Majlis Iftah Jordan, their fuqaha are traditional fuqaha. They have a department that just does Shafi'i fiqh. They have a department that just does Hanafi fiqh, and they don't have a Maliki, but I think they have a Hanbali department and one general one. So I put them here because they are traditional. So they said that it is permissible because according to them, they said that it is ghairu maqsood. It is not intended for the scent, but people buy it so that they can clean their hands. Actually, they say that the people don't even care whether it's lavender or it's rose or it's menthol, whatever the case may be. They don't care. They just want to wash oil off their hands. That's why they buy it. So they have a point. So and again, I said, this one I leave it up to you. Okay, whatever position you want to take, we recommend the more precautionary position. But we understand that some of you have children and that you have to address the needs of your children. So we leave it up to you. Okay, tamam. Okay, the link for Majlis Iftar Jordan is there. As for Habib Muhammad's view, it is actually mentioned in Syarah Yaqutun Nafis. Okay. And then, okay, so if you want to get non-fragrant toothpaste, that is, if you want to follow the position of Habib Muhammad Ash-Shatari, okay, you can purchase this product. There are many non-fragrant toothpaste, non-fragrant soap that are available in the market out there. Okay, so I do not represent this manufacturer or this company. I'm just giving you a choice. Okay, and likewise, okay, I don't represent Dove either. Okay, but they do have non-scented soap available in the market. So if you want to get this, you can get this. Okay. Okay, tamam. So there are some masail. Can I put on scents and perfume prior to entering into ihram? Okay, this is something that people ask. Okay, you can. Okay, you can. But just take note that actually if you remove it, okay, whilst you are still in a state of ihram, and then you put it on again, okay, and the athar of the scents still remain on your ihram clothing, and this is perhaps more applicable to men, because you go into toilets and then you'd want to remove the top parts of your ihram. Okay, so when you put it on again whilst you're already in a state of ihram, that is akin to putting on scents onto your body whilst in a state of ihram. So that is not permissible. Okay, tamam. If you want to do that and you remove it, okay, you have to look for another piece of ihram cloth to wear. Okay, or you could go on barebodied for the rest of your journey until you finish your Umrah. Okay, and people ask this question. Okay, I have regular migraine and I need to use minyak kapak. Okay, because I need to reduce the migraine, and this is something that is a habit for me. Can I use minyak kapak whilst I'm in ihram? Okay, so I discussed it with friends. Okay, it's not an answer from a teacher, but ala kulli hal, the conclusion that we came to is that actually this minyak kapak, it has a scent. Okay, but its scent isn't even nice, and people don't purchase it for the scent. People purchase it for the vapor. Okay, that comes with the oil, and that is what we use to reduce the migraine. Okay, so on these grounds, we don't even discuss whether it is maksud or ghairu maksud. We say that actually it is permissible for you to use X brand oil because we have never found anyone who actually purchases X brand oil for the scents. Okay, just for the scent, because I like the scents. We've not, people don't normally use that. Unlike soaps, soaps, perhaps it is probably arguable that people might buy certain types of soaps for the scent. Yes. Mm. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Yeah. So essential oils, we can go back to this lah. You can go back to this. Yeah, you can go. It depends on the oil. And I deliberately put X brand oil because there are other oils that are available in the market out there where people actually purchase it for the scent, and it is the scent like aromatherapy, it is the scent that they purchase it for, and that is what brings medicinal benefit to them. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so can I buy scents and perfumes whilst I'm in ihram? Yes, you can. Okay, and we go back to this inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so if it's something that is actually used or taken benefit from by carrying, and then so you can't carry it. Okay, so you get someone else to carry it inshallah ta'ala. Okay, otherwise you use bottled perfumes, it's okay for you to buy it, but I would say wait until you have completed your Umrah and you're free from the Muharramatul Ihram. That is better. Okay, then I put in this, what about the sprays at the mas'ah? The sprays at the mas'ah, wallahu alam, I don't know how whether the sprays at the mas'ah, the intent is the scent, or is it there because it's a disinfectant? You know, I would have thought that actually it's a disinfectant and that it's something like Dettol or J-Pine. The scent is just something that is coincidental or incidental to the product. You know, yeah. So and what? It has a smell. Oh, it's just like this is disinfectant, right? It's just like disinfectant. So therefore, I found I think Mufti Selangor or something like that wrote about it. This actual mas'ala, he said that actually it's not even maksud. Okay? He said it's not even maksud. It's just there as a disinfectant. Okay, and then unlawful things in ihram, things which do not nullify the ihram. Okay, number 6, oiling. Okay, so oiling the hair on one's head and one's face, okay, is impermissible even though it's not scented. Okay, the 7th thing, hunting. Okay, hunting. Okay, hunting is haram. Okay, hunting edible land animals, okay, like deers, birds, and the likes of them is impermissible for a muhrim, both inside and outside the haram. Okay, so once you're in ihram, you cannot hunt. Okay, whether you're inside or outside the haram. So along the way, you see a pigeon and you decide to hunt the pigeon because suddenly in ihram, these things just seem tasty to you. You know, they seem attractive to you. So you want to hunt, we say that actually it's impermissible because you're a muhrim. Okay, whether or not you're inside or outside the boundaries of the haram. And it is also impermissible, okay, for the non-muhrim inside the haram. So even after you have tahallul, you have done tahallul and you are free from the muharramatul ihram, it is still not permissible for you to hunt whilst you are in the haram. And this applies to the haram Makki and the haram of Medina. Okay. But inshallah ta'ala, this is not something that we will have to go through. We will fit you well, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, and if it, yeah. So if and this is, they have to wear this cream on their head or their beards lah. That means on their skin. Moisturizer on the face. If it's not scented, then there's no issue lah. Yeah. Even in ihram, you need to use lotion. Your lotion is not scented lotion, then there's no issue. There's no issue to it. Lotion, is it a form of oil? Yeah, it's not. Tadahun. Yeah. Yeah. On your body, yes, of course, you can use on your body. Yeah. Okay. Moisturizer on your beard. Yeah. Moisturizer, that means it's not meant for the beard, but you just put moisturizer on the beard. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even in the state of ihram, if this moisturizer is a cream and it's not oil, then you can do it. You know, but I would question actually, why would you want to do it? You know, that's all. I mean, just as a question, huh? Just as uh, uh, yes, yeah, okay. So okay, so this is the final thing that we're going to discuss, which is plucking out flora. Okay, it should be flora and not floral. So there are typos here. I'll amend it, inshallah ta'ala. So plucking out flora, okay, plucking out plants is impermissible for a muhrim both inside and outside the haram, and it's impermissible for both the muhrim and the non-muhrim inside the haram. Okay. And plucking out moist plants, like trees and other small moist plants, these are not permissible, and there are exceptions. The exceptions are those that are taken for its scent, or to be made food for animals, and those that are used as siwak. Okay, those that are used as siwak, you can pluck these out. Okay, those that are planted in orchards and farms for consumption or for medicinal purposes and others when there is a need for it, because these people are farmers, they are farmers in Medina. Okay, then they can do it. Okay, they can do it because these are grown for a specific purpose. Okay, but there is something that, you know, we maybe my mother will call it tangan gatal kan, tangan gatal kan. So sometimes, you know, we sit out, you know, we are having a picnic or what's you know, somewhere eating albay, you know, under a tree, and then we see grass. Sometimes we suddenly have this habit of wanting to pluck out, you know, grass, you know. So if it's still moist grass, it's actually haram for you to do so. Okay, it's haram for you to do so, and we'll talk about the kafara shortly, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, tamam. But if it's dry plants, it is impermissible to pluck it but not cut it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, you cannot cut it. Okay, it is you cannot cut it, but you can pluck it. No, it is actually permissible. Huh? It is impermissible to cut. It's impermissible to cut it off. Okay, but you can pluck it. You can plug it out. Okay, you can plug it out, because the reason for this, the illah, is that so that actually these things can grow again. So you can't actually plug it out. Nazar. Okay. Nazar. Okay. So you cannot plug it out as in pull out. You cannot uproot the plants. Okay, but you can. Yes, it's uproots. It's not plug. Okay, because plug is this. This is not. This is actually to uproot it. Okay, it is impermissible for you to uproot it, but not for you to cut it. Okay, so you can still take from it, but you can't uproot it, because we expect it to be able to grow again. Okay, so again, this one I will make amendments for future classes. Okay, so these are some of the expiations for committing things that are unlawful in ihram. Okay, covering the head or wearing things that are muhit, covering the face and putting on gloves. Okay, removing hair or nails, using perfume, oiling the hair or beard. Okay, what is the expiation that's due? It's 1 mud or 2 mud. Okay, depending on the number of times these things occur, or dam if it's more than 2 mud. Okay, so all of these things, we say they are either from luxuries, things that we call tarafuh in Arabic. Okay, so all of these things are from tarafuh except for number 4, which is from something that we call mimbabil itlaf, okay, from extraction, because we extract or remove something from our body or from something. Yeah. The ones that are from tarafu, we say that there is no sin upon you, and there is no expiation upon you if it is done forgetfully or it is forced upon you to do so. Okay, so if you forgetfully cover your head, okay, and then you remove it, okay, there's no problem. There's definitely no sin upon you, and there is no expiation due upon you as well. You wear encompassing clothes, okay, you out of habit, you just took out your shirt and then you put it on, and then when you remembered, you took it off. Okay, there is no expiation due upon you, and it is not haram, because anyway it's something that is done forgetfully. Okay, however, the ones that are from itlaf, they have due expiation even if they are done forgetfully. Okay, so for example, removing of hair or nails, removing of hair or nails, these are from babil itlaf, because you are removing something from your body. Okay, you are removing something from your body, you pluck out your hair or you cut your hair. These things are not things that you do out of comfort, you know. These are things that you actually remove something. So for these types of things, the fuqaha say that there is no blame upon you if you do it unintentionally or forgetfully. However, there would still be expiation due upon you. Okay, so if you unintentionally or forgetfully, you forgot that you were in ihram, and then you sat down and you pluck out one strand of hair, then you would still have to give 1 mud. Okay, 1 mud is about half a liter of staple grain. So that means it could be wheat or rice, that is given to the poor, the fuqara or the masakin of the haram. Okay, so this is the expiation that is due upon you. Okay, the expiation for unlawful things in ihram which do not nullify. Okay, so for the dam, you can choose. Okay, if it comes to a point where you have to slaughter, just now we said 1 mud, 2 mud, or dam. So if you get to that level where you actually have to pay dam, you pluck out 5 strands of hair, 10 strands of hair. Okay, what is the dam that is applicable to you? You can choose between slaughtering a sheep, fasting 3 days, or giving 3 sa', approximately 2.3 liters of staple grain to 6 poor persons, fuqara or masakin, from the haram of Makkah. Okay, so that is the expiation that is due upon you. Okay, so we'll stop here for a while. Does anybody have any questions? Tafaddal. Yes. Sorry? Shades as no. Yeah. And you can also sit in a car with a roof. It is not a joke. You will find that there are buses out in Mecca that do not have that are open roof, you know, and these are removed. You know, they are not like built as open roof. They are removed. These are for Shias. For Shias, because for them that is also considered to be a head cover. They have to be completely open under the sun. Allah Alam, I don't know about that. But this one we actually see. Okay, we can actually see this in Mecca. Okay. Okay, so we'll talk about keeping one's wudu during manasik. Okay, this is a very important matter. So we'll first go through the integrals of wudu according to our madhab, the madhab of Imam Shafi'i. So there are 6 integrals of wudu according to our madhab. The first one is intention. Okay, so to place the niyat nawaitu raf'al hadathil asghari lillahi ta'ala. Okay, whilst we are washing the face, to make talaffuz of it, that means to mention it is sunnah. Okay, and the place of it is in the heart, and we place it when we are doing our first juzuk from our ibadah, in this case washing the face. Okay, tamam. So that's the first the first integral is intention. The second integral is washing the face. Okay. So again, we are not discussing wudu per se, but if you have questions regarding wudu that is not covered as part of this this session, you can ask me afterwards. Okay, because we have quite a bit to cover. Okay, and then the next integral is washing the hands up to the you see, up to the elbows. Okay, washing the hands up to the elbows. Okay, washing the hands up to the elbows. So you wash your hands up to the elbows. Okay, and then you wipe your head. Okay, and in our madhab, okay, what is required is to just wipe the head, any part of the head. Okay, if you do not have hair, then any parts of the head, even if you wet it with just a wet finger, that means you transfer that wetness, it is valid in our madhab. Okay, even if you wet just a portion of one strand of hair, you just wet it, it is something that fulfills this requirement according to our madhab. Okay, tamam. Okay, and the next integral is to wash the feet. Okay, so to wash the feet, this one up to the ankles. Okay, up to the ankles. Tamam. And the sixth integral is sequence. Okay, that means to do the things that we mentioned: washing the face, washing the hands, wiping the head, and washing the feet according to the mentioned sequence. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. So when you wash your hands, it's from the fingers, the tip of the fingers up till the elbows, okay? And you should wash including your elbows, okay? And we'll have a separate discussion with regards to that. And for your feet, then it's from the tip of your toes right up to the ankles, okay? And wash including the ankles, okay? Tamam? Okay. Now we're going to talk about the nullifiers of wudu according to our madhab. Okay. You remember this. These are the only 4 nullifiers because people ask this question over and over again. You know, I terkena tai burung. You know that a lot of things. You know, I actually like kill a cockroach. Do I need to take wudu again? So you remember these 4 things and know that there is no fifth to it. Okay. So the first thing is something exiting the private parts. Okay, so your front or your rear private parts, anything that exits it, it will nullify the wudu. The only exception is semen. Okay, the second thing is loss of intellect. Okay, any type of loss of intellect, okay, including sleep, fainting, or insanity. Okay, if you become insane, these all fall under the category of loss of intellect. There is one exception to this, and that is sleeping. If you sleep in a sitting position, okay, and there are stipulations to that. Okay, there are stipulations to that. So the first stipulation is that you must be of moderate builds. Okay, you cannot be too huge and you cannot be too thin. Okay, because it is said that these types of people, air can exit from them without them noticing it. Okay, tamam. The second condition, the second stipulation is that they must be sitting in a position or in a place which is not distance from the ground. Okay, so if you sit in a place where there is a hole, like let's say, what do you call that? Commode. You sit on a commode. Do you know what a commode is? For those people who are involved in palliative care, you will know what is a commode. A commode is a chair, okay, which you use to wheel people who are not able to attend to themselves, so that you can just wheel them to a toilet and then you put it over the toilet. So there's a hole in between, just like your toilet seat. Okay, just like your toilet seat. So you cannot be sitting on something like that. But if you're sitting on a regular chair like this or on the ground, then that's fine. Okay. And then the third condition is that you must have fallen asleep in the same position that you must have woken from your sleep, the same position that you fell asleep in. Okay, so you couldn't have woken from your sleep, right? Maybe you fell asleep here and then you woke up there. then you might have sleepwalk, you know, and something might have happened, or you fell asleep sitting down on the floor, but when you woke up, you were sitting down on this chair. Okay, then you didn't actually wake up from your sleep in the same position you fell asleep in. Okay, so that's the third stipulation. And the fourth one is that you were not informed of you losing or nullifying your wudu by someone who is thiqah, someone who is trustworthy. Okay, so if, let's say, for example, if Habib Umar walks past you, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah, if Habib Umar actually walks past us and tells you, by the way, you nullified your wudu, there's no two ways about it. You have to go and take wudu. Okay, you have to go and take wudu. And Alhamdulillah, if that happens to me, I'd be very thankful that it happens to me. Tamam. Yeah. Yeah. You're leaning. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Hmm? Hmm. If you're, as long as we say that according to Orov, it is still sitting. You know, it is not lying down. We say that this is sitting. Anybody who looks at it, it will say he is sitting. He or she is still sitting. It's not lying down. Mm. Uh, yeah. So according to the scholars of usul, they say that any qaedah which is mubham, which is ambiguous, you have to try it. And then you see, that means you actually have to try it and see whether wind can actually exit you on or not. Okay, so you have to maybe, yeah, get someone to, okay, I'm gonna sleep for 2 hours. You just sit down and see whether whether wind exits me or not. It's a bit far off lah, I think. Yeah, it's a bit far-fetched, but wallahu alam. The guidance that the fuqaha give, they say that actually, as long as by uruf it's still sitting, yeah, we say that actually that then we consider it still sitting. Okay. Okay, tamam. So that is the second nullifier of wudu. The third nullifier is direct skin contact. Okay, so there are stipulations also. Direct skin contact, firstly, without a preventive. Okay, so there's direct contact. Okay, between unrelated, that means marriageable men and women. Okay, men and women. So unmarriageable is one, another stipulation, and men and women is another stipulation, and they must be desirable. That means they must be at an age where we say that they are fit for marriage. Okay, according to the uruf of the people involved. Okay, so if you have direct skin to skin contact between two people who are marriageable and they are of a desirable age, that means you would desire them for marriage, and without a preventive, that means it's not you didn't touch them through with a separator, like a piece of cloth or your clothing that you have on you, then it would nullify the wudu of both the person who touched and the person who was being touched. Okay, and the fourth nullifier is touching one's private parts. Okay, front and rear private parts with the surface of one's palms. Okay, so the surface of your palms are the parts of your hands that meet when they are put together like this. Okay, tamam, with the exception of the thumb, because the thumb you have to do this. Okay, this is the surface area of your palm. And whatever, if you touch it with the back of your hand, okay, or with the gap between your this area, which is the gap between your two fingers, then it also doesn't count. Okay, tamam. Yeah. 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 Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you use the tip of your fingers like this, it will still nullify. Okay. Yeah. But if you do this, then it doesn't nullify. Let's say if you hold it like this, then it would not nullify. You know. And I cannot tell you to wear gloves or to put on, like plastic because you're in ihram. Yeah, you can use a tissue and maybe you might not touch it. Then yeah, it's possible for you to save your wudu lah, inshallah. Okay, so now we'll talk about integrals of wudu, okay, in other schools, okay. In the Hanafi school, okay, we just mentioned to you, in the Hanafi school, it is compulsory to wipe the forelock. That means, which is equivalent to a quarter of the head. Okay, so like I mentioned just now, for this, the integrals of wudu, according to our madhab, we say that it is just wiping any part of the head, okay, or any part of a strand of hair, it would suffice. But for the Ahnaf, you actually have to wipe a quarter of the head. Okay, we call this miqdar and nasiyah. Okay, so a quarter of the head is obligatory in the Hanafi school. In the Maliki school, it is compulsory to wipe the entire head. Okay, it's compulsory to wipe the entire head. Okay, and in the old school of Imam Shafi'i, mualah, okay, continuity between the different parts of wudu is compulsory. Okay, and according to the scholars of hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never left gargling or clearing his nose. So he never left the madmada or the istinshaq. Okay, and he was never deficient in wiping his head without perfecting it upon his turban. So even if he didn't remove his imamah, that means if he did wipe on just a portion of his head or just some part of hair, okay, some part of some hair on his head, he would still complete it by wiping or running his wet hands over his imamah. Okay, tamam. And he never left the continuity, so he never left muala, and he never left the tertib. So Imam Ahmad, in the madhab of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, it is compulsory to do all these things. Okay, why do I mention to you all these things? Because we would prefer that when you take wudu, it doesn't just apply when you're going for Umrah, but generally that whenever you take wudu, you should not leave the things that are disagreements among scholars on whether or not it is compulsory. In fact, in our madhab, our scholars even tell us, even if you are rushing for time, you should not leave wiping the whole head. Why? Because there is khilaf amongst the ulama that wiping the whole head, the entire head, is something that is compulsory in wudu. Okay? Okay. Yeah? Yes. Okay. So you should wet you can wet your hand with that is tahur, that is pure and purifying. Okay, you wet a little bit of your head, and then you perfect it by wiping over your scarf. Okay, even if the water doesn't seep through and wet your hair or your head, it is still sought for, it is still matlub for you to do so. Okay, so now we'll talk about the nullifiers of wudu according to the Ahnaf. Okay, according to the Ahnaf, okay, and okay, this is taken from Seeker's Guidance, and the person who prepared this is also our friend. This is by Ustad Yusuf Welch. He wrote this. So it is said in this book that wudu is nullified by anything that exits from the private parts, even if it's not customary, such as a worm or stones. Okay. And then secondly, the flowing of any ritually impure substance like blood or pus from a wound. So if you have a wound and then you bleed from that wound, it will also nullify your wudu according to who? According to the Ahnaf. Okay. So this is something that you have to know. And vomiting. Okay. If you vomit and that vomit is a mouthful such that you will not be able to, you would not have been able to keep it in without difficulty, except if it's something small and something minor like phlegm. Okay. Tamam? And blood that overcomes one's saliva or equals it. So closer to red. Wudu is invalidated. Wudu is invalidated. Okay. So this is blood in the mouth. Tamam? And the sleep of one whose rear is not firmly seated. This one, inshallah ta'ala, is roughly the same as the Shafi'is. Loss of consciousness, okay? Same as the Shafi'is. Madness, insanity, same as the Shafi'is, except that we combine it into one nullifier. Okay? Drunkenness, also same as the Shafi'is. Again, we combine it all into one nullifier, which is the loss of akal, okay, the loss of intellect. And number 9, laughter of an aware adult person in a prayer that contains bowing and prostration. Okay, this is something that is actually in the Ahnaf, that if you laugh whilst you're in prayer, but your prayer must be a prayer that has ruku' and sujud. Okay, if you laugh in your salat janazah, it will not nullify your wudu. Okay, this is actually in the Ahnaf, and direct contact between what is mentioned there. So ala kulli hal, okay, so these are the nullifiers of wudu. I put here Shafi'i, actually it's Hanafi. Okay, so this is a typo. Second page of Hanafi. I'll correct it. Okay, and these are the nullifiers of wudu according to our old madhab. Okay, something exiting the private parts, loss of intellect, same as the new madhab, and direct skin to skin contact, but it will only nullify the wudu of the toucher without the touchy. Okay, and touching one's private parts, front and the rear. Okay, so it's all the same except for number 3. Okay, except for number 3. So again, this one I leave it to you. Okay, I leave it up to you whether you want to make taklid of the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa, or you want to go on and take wudu and to consider the nullifiers as a Shafi'i, but according to the old school. I'm just telling you that actually I'm just going to take wudu as a Shafi'i, and I'm just going to take the position of the old school of madhab Imam Shafi'i, which is it will nullify the wudu of the toucher without the touchy. Okay, so I'll just go on and I'll just do ihtiyat, and I'll cover myself. I will not do ittiba, and that's why I do not do ittiba during tawaf or during sa'i. Okay, tamam. I feel more comfortable with it because I think that this is just a little bit overwhelming for me, you know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So our teachers, they prefer that we continue to stick to our madhab, even if there's a weaker position in our madhab, rather than making taklid immediately with another position. But again, I said this is really entirely up to you. And I'll tell you a story. There's a story that Syekh Taha told this story. Syekh Taha told this story at Masjid Khalid. Yeah. So Syekh Taha said that there was and it was relating to this. Yeah. So he said that there was a Hadrami who went to Hajj many years ago, and he refused to make taklid of any madhab, and he was really guarding his wudu and avoiding women and all that. And then there was an Egyptian woman who knew that he was trying to protect his wudu. So she came up to him and then she touched his face deliberately. Here you go, Hadrami. He said, you're really ta'assup with your Shafi'i madhab. So here you go. Your wudu is broken. And he said, oh, Allah. He said, I have to go and take wudu now. And in those days, it was quite difficult for you to take wudu. You know, you have to travel quite a distance to get water and all. Yeah, so so he was telling us this story so that actually we do not have ta'assub, you know, with just one madhab. Yeah, but ala kulli hal, anyway, jokes aside, going back to this, practically I find that this is enough, you know, to just hold on to the old madhab of Imam Shafi'i. Okay. Okay, so ala kulli hal, we have only 15 minutes left, but we can extend because we also started later. Yeah. Oh yeah, and later the administration of Masjid Khalid asked us to make a small donation to Masjid Khalid, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so conditions of congregational prayer. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, there are conditions of a valid jama'ah. Okay, so these are all the conditions. Anyway, it's a lot for us to go through now. Actually, I just want you to point you out to this. If you are praying a congregational prayer, when you are actually outside the masjid, it shouldn't be in the masjid, but outside of the masjid. Okay, so either you or the imam or both of you are outside the masjid. Okay, what are the conditions? Okay, so there is an additional condition that there should be no barrier preventing the ma'mum's arrival at the imam. Okay, the imam's place of prayer. Okay, sorry, this is in the masjid first. Sorry, so this is correct. Okay, so in the masjid there is that means you should be able to arrive at the imam even if you have to do it by retracting your steps or turning your back. It is still a valid congregation. Okay, that prayer is still a valid congregational prayer. However, if it is outside of the masjid, okay, there are some additional conditions. Okay, and the condition is that the ma'mum must be able to see the movements of the imam in prayer or see the movements of the one who sees the imam in prayer. So that means you must know, okay, the movements of the imam either by seeing the imam or seeing someone who sees the imam, or you can hear the imam. Okay, and you must have the possibility of arriving at the imam even if you have to do it without doing, and you have to be able to arrive at the imam without retracting or turning your back. Okay, so this is the typo. Okay, I have to correct this. Without retracting your steps or turning your back. Okay, it's called iswirar or in'itaf. Okay, in Arabic. And that the distance between the ma'mum and the imam does not exceed 300 dhira, so approximately about 140 meters thereabouts. Okay, if one of them is in the masjid and the other outside of the masjid, what is considered is the age of the masjid and not the last person in the congregation inside the masjid. Okay, so okay, so what does this mean? Okay, the first one is clear, we talked about it already. The second one, we say that if you are praying outside of the masjid, okay, outside of a masjid, I'm an imam, okay, and I'm here, okay, and you are one step behind. So fine, I'm actually behind the imam, okay, so that's valid, right? I can hear the imam, I can see him, so it's valid. We say that if it is outside the masjid, this separator renders the jama'ah invalid. Why? Because how do you get to the imam? You have to retract and then you have to do a crab walk in order to get to the imam. So we say that if it is outside of the masjid or one of them is outside of masjid, then this type of positioning makes or renders the jama'ah invalid. Okay? Tamam? We have a chart to show this. Okay. However, if the makmum is there at that door and I'm here, I'm so sorry for the people who are watching from home. Okay, I'm here and the makmum is there. That's okay, because how does he get to the imam? He can just walk straight and reach the imam. Okay, so that's okay. Tamam? And this is applicable when at least one of them is outside of the masjid. Okay? And the distance between the makmum and the imam does not exceed 300 dirham. So, which is about 140 meters. So, if it's in the masjid, both of you are in the masjid, the imam is very far away. Like, for example, at Masjid Nabawi. Okay, let's say you can hear the movements of the imam. The imam is in the mihrab and you're right at the end of Masjid Nabawi. Your salat would still be valid. Okay, your salat would still be valid. Tamam? Okay. However, if you are outside of the masjid, then that distance will render that jama'ah invalid. Tamam? So we'll have just some pictures here. So let's say this is like the example that we talked about. This in the masjid or outside the masjid? Huh? Fil masjid. Fi fina al masjid. Okay. So so ala kulli hal, if it is in the masjid, this is not a problem. Okay, it is not a problem. Even if you have to retrace your steps, and then you have to, or retract your steps, and then you have to walk crab like in order to reach the position of the imam. Okay. However, if this is outside of the masjid, this is imam in and makmum in. Okay. If it is outside a masjid, then this separator will render the jama'ah invalid. Okay, tamam? Okay. If the makmum is in, the imam is in the masjid and the makmum is out, like this. This one, there's a typo here, in the Arabic. La tasih. It's actually yaseh. 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 Because you can actually reach the imam without doing iswirar or in'itaf. That means you can just walk like this and you can reach the imam. So this is valid, even though the makmum is outside the masjid. Okay. Okay. So the imam is in the masjid and the makmum is out. Like just now, that example. Okay. So you have to reverse. Okay. Then you have to walk sideways in order to reach the imam. This is invalid. Okay. And these are actually considerations only when either one of them is not in the masjid. If they are both in the masjid, then this is not a consideration. Okay. Unless, of course, you are in a room which is locked permanently and nailed, then we say then that one, your salat would be still invalid. Okay, tamam. Okay. And there is also the musalla at the shopping center and at the, yeah. And people they just pray there because I mean the hotel prepares it for them, and in fact outsiders can also go in and join the salat there. But and they say that it's valid because it's glass, because they say that you can see outside, but actually it's not, so Yeah, if you can't, then you can't. You know, because there are people we've been to Masjidil Haram, and there was and that was Tarawih, right? That was Tarawih, and people were lining the streets. And can you imagine that Masjidil Haram is here, and the street is like this, and everybody just prays facing the direction of the street. The guards don't say anything. You're not even facing Masjidil Haram. It's so obvious that you're off. The street goes like this, you know, and people will just pray there. And I mean, how can we tell, you know, thousands of people Salat Jumaat as well. Okay. So ala kulli hal, will just be mindful of this. And even worse, actually, in Masjid Nabawi, they actually have a line there to say that the Imam prays before this line, and people will still just form up rows, and they will just pray all over the masjid. And yeah, and there is actually a sign in 4 languages, you know, 4 or 5 languages, you know, that says that the Imam, the line of the Imam, something like that. The Imam stands at this line, and people will just form up, you know, so don't in front of the line, you know, and they say that, yeah, it's okay. No, no, it's not. It's not a masjid. Yeah, that's why like women who are having odor, they can still sit around that area. That's no problem. Yeah. No, no, the Imam is in front of the Kaaba. Is in front of the Kaaba. No, the Imam is in front of the Kaaba. Hmm. Last, hmm? Imam kat tingkat 2. Hmm. Tak ada orang ah. Hmm. 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 Yeah, the Imam is still in the masjid. It doesn't matter. But this one, we're talking about people who pray in the musalla, in the hotels, you know. Hmm. Yeah, and they already cleared up the rows in front of the Imam. Then it's okay, because anyway, traditionally, actually, we didn't used to pray. The Imam didn't used to pray in front of the Kaaba, behind the Hajar Aswad, you know, because last time in the olden days, they would have 4 quarters for each madhab, you know. And alhamdulillah, the madhab of Imam Shafi'i, they would pray behind the Maqam Ibrahim. Maqam Ibrahim, that's the place for the Shafi'i. So they would have different congregations for different madhabs. And the mataf would still be open for people to perform tawaf last time, you know, last time. And the Maqam Ibrahim was actually much further behind where it is now, you know. So they moved the Maqam Ibrahim. Yeah. Ala kulli hal, praying at prohibited times, inshallah ta'ala, there's no issue of praying at prohibited times in the haram of Makki only. Okay. Um, Bukan polis tegur. Actually, orang yang selalu tegur. Orang jemaah lain yang selalu tegur. Actually, tak boleh macam gini. Ya. Okay, so just the last thing that I just want to leave you with, I think we can still come back after itu kan, after you want to talk about logistics or something. You don't want to come back after this? Okay, okay. Okay, Ken. So there'll be another pre-Rehlah briefing where we'll talk about the logistics and room allocation and things like that. Okay. So I just want to leave you with this. This is from the advice of Habib Umar to some students who were going for Umrah some years ago. So he said, just maintain a good opinion of everyone because they are the Ahlullah in both Mecca and Medina, and most of them are mastur. They are concealed. You won't know who they are. Okay. So Habib Umar told this story. He said the son of one of the Salihin was about to go and perform the Hajj. So the last thing that his father said to him when they parted, his father told him not to find fault with anyone that he saw in the during his Hajj. But as soon as he entered Mecca, he saw an old man performing wudu incorrectly. So this person, maybe he was a scholar or something, but he felt that it was like it was his duty, to point out what the mistakes were. So he went to this old man and he began pointing out this man's mistake to him. And then the man turned to him and said, "Have you forgotten your father's advice?" So the man was from the awliya of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So have a good opinion of others. These are common sights that we will see in the Haramayn. People making tawaf or praying with their aurah exposed. People waking up from sleep. We went through the nullifiers of wudu, even according to the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa. But we still see people sleeping, lying down, in various positions. And then when the azan sounds or people call, and when the iqamah is called, they just get up and then they immediately pray without wudu. Okay, and people praying without facing the ayn of the qibla. You're supposed, when you're actually witnessing the Kaaba, you are actually supposed to be facing the Kaaba. And it's amazing how people can be in front of the Kaaba and they can actually be facing another way. This thing actually happens, And we actually came across someone, Indonesians, who were actually praying facing the wall. And someone actually had to stop. The Kaaba is there. The Kaaba is there. Oh, okay. So you see these sites, okay? And people praying in invalid congregation, ikhtilats in congregational prayer, men and women, beside each other. In our madhab, it will actually render the congregation invalid, okay? If there is if you are directly in contact with someone of the opposite gender, okay? In the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa, it will render it invalid even if you're in the same saf. So the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa is more strict than the madhab of Imam Shafi'i in many matters. Ala kulli hal, whenever we see this, we say that actually just have a good opinion of others and we just give them an excuse. Perhaps this, perhaps that, perhaps they didn't notice, perhaps there's a madhab that we don't know of that they comply to. Perhaps their teachers taught them this way, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we just maintain a good opinion of others and we apply what we have learned to ourselves, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu alam. We're talking about congregational prayer here, but if you're praying munfarid, I don't think it affects this is a condition for congregational prayer. And unless there is mubashara, maybe, I don't know. No, she's not even talking about wudu. She's talking about ikhtilat in prayer. Yeah. If it's right next to you, then we say that even in our madhab, it would render the congregation invalid. Yes, you need to redo that prayer. Okay, if he's praying next to you. But inshallah ta'ala, as far as we know, what we've seen is that once it is close to Iqamah time, the police will actually segregate the men and women. Yeah. Husband and wife. Husband and wife in jama'ah. The husband and wife praying next to each other, tak boleh. Okay. Tamam? Okay, insyaAllah ta'ala. Okay, kita... ikhtilat husband and wife in jama'ah. Maybe can, you know. Apa tu... Allah alam. I think maybe you're right. Actually, in jama'ah, it might be permitted. But I'm not sure. We have to check. No, Hanafi. No, this is about whether the congregational prayer is valid or not. Ala kulli hal, just apa tu, insyaAllah ta'ala, apa tu, for practical purposes, because I don't know whether I have time to look up this hukum or not. But anyway, for practical purposes, just make sure that you're not praying, apa tu, that you are praying in a women only saf and the men are praying in men only saf lah. Yang jauh-jauh, yang tak nampak, yang perhaps tu semua kita just okay. So insyaAllah ta'ala, any questions? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, there are the niat dengan syarat. Niat dengan syarat. So what valid reasons? So valid reasons may include, but they will not be limited to going in, being prevented from entering into the haram. Okay, or being prevented from fulfilling the Umrah because maybe you choose not to consume medicine that actually delays your head, you know, and that you enter enter ihram in head, okay, when you have that odor, but you have a hope that perhaps it might clear before your jama'ah actually leaves Mecca. But you wait and you wait and you wait, you know, and you wait a whole week, and it's time for the jama'ah to leave already, and you still haven't, you're still actually experiencing your head. Okay, so if that happens, then that is when you tahallul, you know, you tahallul, you become halal when there is no longer a possibility for you to fulfill it. Okay, so you become halal when you leave the boundaries of the haram with your congregation. So that's those are possible scenarios. Let me think of other possible scenarios. I'm only thinking about the ones that are most applicable for us. And also, okay, just now actually I wanted to add something into the slides, which is actually the wearing of a face mask. If let's say we are because this was a reality a couple of years ago, you know, anybody who does tawaf has to wear a face mask, you know. So if you are compelled to do so, or you have a hajat to do so, and you have to cover your face nonetheless, you know, then we say that you can do so, and there is no blame upon you for doing so. However, you still have to pay the dam. Okay, so this is something that that was a reality some years ago, but alhamdulillah we don't have this requirement now. But if it so happens, then you would have to do it, and you would have to pay dam. Ya, sakit as well. You know, kalau you sakit, you nak kena fulfill juga. Tengok. Yeah, you can wait until for a few days. And then let's say today is the last day, you're leaving tomorrow, and you have to fulfill your Umrah anyway, you know. So you just put on a face mask. If that suffices, then you put on a face. Syarat niat bersyarat. Niat bersyarat. Okay. Niat bersyarat, yes. Okay, so niat bersyarat will apply in that circumstance as well. Of course, you know, we know that in reality, illnesses, they have different levels. You know, maybe you are not able to fulfill it yourself, but maybe someone else can help to push you. Then we should still fulfill that, you know, by pushing you around on a wheelchair, you know, or sitting you on a buggy, and then just getting the buggy to just to fulfill your tawaf, you know, then so be it. Then that's how we will fulfill your Umrah. Okay, so as long as it can still be fulfilled, even if it's not by yourself, but it can be fulfilled with assistance from someone, then we would still have to fulfill it. Okay. Dah then. Oh, okay. So ni adhan ke iqamah. Okay. So insyaAllah ta'ala. Okay. So insyaAllah ta'ala we'll read Al-Fatihah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us with beneficial knowledge, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease our journey. And alhamdulillah, every time we sit with a congregation like this, we actually learn new things from you, new masail that come to mind. So actually we're benefiting from each other, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to continue to benefit from each other throughout our journey, and we keep good company with each other. And inshallah ta'ala, there's no problems with our relationships with each other. We all become good companions to each other, and we become hujjah for each other, inshallah ta'ala, in the akhirah. And you can put in any other niyah that you have. If there are people who are ill amongst us, people who are looking for recovery, people who are looking for good health generally, some of our brothers and sisters who may be in dire need, in need of assistance, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them openings from their difficult situations. Ala kulli niyatin salihah ma'al lutfi wa afiyah yuslih sha'nakuna zahiran batinan la hadratin nabi sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatihah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Insyaallah taala I won't see you again actually this next couple of weeks, but the rest of you will gather again when next week, kan? The week after next, huh? Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's a Sunday, he said. Yeah. Okay, so we'll give you notice inshallah ta'ala in the groups. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.